Hi guys, what's up? It's Alex here. Today we are here with another episode of Best Mods on F1 2014. Today we are here with the Lotus 98T mod that you'd have seen in the F1 2013 Classic Edition, and you can see it's been ported over to F1 2014. Very well done. All the livery and everything is done perfectly. I don't know whether it's exactly ported or what they had to do to it, but the livery and everything is exactly the same, which is good. And you can see in the loading screen here it's very well done, so that's good to see. And today we're going to be doing it in a race with, I think, a 3-lap race around Brazil. But you might be wondering what happens then, because you can't really play in classic modes because there aren't other classic cars in this game. So basically this car replaces the 2014 Lotus, and I think it's as fast as the 2014 Lotus. So not technically the perfect mod because it isn't exactly how it was in F1 2013, but you can see here I'm driving as past the Maldonado, and you can see the steering wheel is in sort of hovering in the middle of the air there, so it's not exactly the best thing in the world, but at the end of the day it's actually cool to have this car finally, one of these cars in the game. I've been waiting a long time to see one of these sort of 1980s cars into the game, and this was the first one at least I found on Race Department that was sort of imported into F1 2014, so that's pretty cool. You can see I've actually got all of the mods included from my Volkswagen Career Mode series currently installed, so don't really worry about that. But you can see there the driver's helmets are a little bit into the sort of cockpit there, so yeah, I'm not too sure what's happening there, whether I've installed it wrong or whether it's just like that, I'm not too sure. But you can see here it's got the 2014 steering wheel and everything, but the car looks like the 1980s Lotus 98T. Not too sure what exact year the 98T is from. Is it 1988? I can't remember now. But anyway, heading down to turn 1, you can see we've got the same speed as these cars, even though obviously back in 1980 these cars would have never been anywhere near as fast as the modern day Formula 1 cars. Well, in sort of around the corners and stuff. In a straight line it might have been able to beat it, but in obviously the corners and everything you wouldn't expect it to keep up. But you can see here, keeping up with all the fast cars here, but I made a slight mistake here trying to avoid Bottas. And I don't know whether it sort of carries over some of the character traits from the 1980s Lotus here, because when you put on the throttle sometimes it just like spins out, and I'm not too sure whether it's just the illusion of that sort of style of driving because you're driving an old car, or whether it actually is programmed like that. I'm not too sure, but the car does feel actually a lot harder to drive. But then if you think about it, the Lotus that it replaces was a very bad car in the first place, so I'm not too sure whether it's just that I wasn't used to driving the Lotus in F1 2014. I haven't really driven it all that much in this game, or that it's actually programmed to be a bit like this. But it does seem to have all of the sort of character traits of the modern day Formula 1 car, but it is quite tricky to drive. I'm not too sure that's just because it's a Lotus from 2014, or whether it is actually like the 1980s car. But you can see as we accelerate through the gears here, lots of sparks coming out the back of the car here, really cool. You can see got up to a 7th gear. I'm not too sure, do we shift into an 8th gear? I'm not too sure, but we're very fast in a straight line there, much faster than Gutierrez. Go past him very easily there. So I'm not too sure whether the setup or anything is different in this car either, but it's really cool to have this. I mean, it's a bit weird, I know, racing against modern Formula 1 cars in a classic car here, but it's just a bit of fun at the end of the day. It's not supposed to be super serious, and at the end of the day it's just supposed to be a bit of fun. So don't download this mod expecting it to be like super serious or whatever. It's supposed to be a bit of fun and obviously enjoy it in the game, replacing the 2014 Lotus, but you could still be racing around with the other cars as well. Like if you were driving a Williams, for example, you could still see this car out on track as well, so that's quite cool. So yeah, I've got to say the camera modes or the camera views aren't exactly the greatest. I mean, this is actually one of the better ones, weirdly. I never drive from the chase cam here as shown here. I get a bit sideways and then I get very sideways and I drive all over the grass here, but the chase camera is actually quite good. But so if you're sort of learning this car, maybe that's the one you want to go for. I still think this is probably the best one, even though the steering wheel isn't in the correct place. It's still probably the best view to actually drive these cars in. And I've got to say, sorry about the gameplay. I mean, I tried to do my best to get a decent amount of, good footage, but I kept sliding all over the place, whatever I did with this car, so maybe more practice is needed. But heading through turn 1 here, you can see the car not having too much grip through the first couple of turns here, but we're up to 10th place, which isn't actually too bad here. And on this last lap I was like, let's try and beat Massa's lap time on this last lap of the race here, because obviously we've got Bottas chasing us here. The sparks flying and everything is really cool actually. I'm not too sure whether that was actually supposed to be like that or whether I've installed it right or not, but the sparks pretty crazy. Wherever you are on the track, the sparks are flying everywhere, which I suppose is pretty cool at the end of the day at least. So yeah, you can see there's a big train of cars in front of us here, which we're trying to catch, but probably won't as it's only a 3-lap race here. But yeah, guys, definitely make a backup of your files before downloading this mod. It did actually cause a couple of troubles afterwards. I've recorded a couple of other videos after installing this mod, and it sort of messed up a couple of them, so I'm not actually going to be able to show you those videos for a couple of weeks, guys, whilst I re-record them. But yeah, definitely make a backup of your files before trying out this mod, but definitely give it a go. It is a lot of fun. You can see Lewis Hamilton wins this Brazilian race here, about 3.5 seconds behind Master, and look at those sparks. It is kind of crazy. You wouldn't really want to be following it, would you, with all those sparks coming out from behind the car? But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. Another episode of Best F1 2014 Mods is done. See you tomorrow for another F1 video. Goodbye.